Hey everybody, welcome to our early predictions for UFC Fight Night, Derek Lewis versus Jailton Almeida. These are our early thoughts. You ready to rock, A-Train?
Yeah, man. Let's go.
Let's do it. First fight of the night, we got Cowie Fernandez versus Mark Diakese. The odds are fairly close here. They're tightening up. Diakese opened up as a sizable favorite, but they're closing in. Fernandez is the better striker for sure. He's going to look to strike here. And Mark's confusing and he's not reliable. So I don't know what his game plan is going to be. Like if he turns into that power wrestler that he's sometimes capable of being, he has a path here to shoot the takedowns and hold him down for the fight. But honestly, like I think Fernandez is going to light him up on the feet. So I'm liking Fernandez as the dog here. Do I love it? No, but that would be how I'm seeing this fight. I think he's going to outstrike Diakese and get it done. What do you think?
Well, Fernandez probably does have the better striking. But Mark, you gotta remember Mark came in as a striker, like into the UFC as a striker, right? But then he went on that three-fight losing streak, I think it was. And then he became D1, D2, Diakese. Whatever you want, whatever division of the NCAA you want to put him in, you can put him in it. I think he was up against Santa Claus, not Santa Claus. Yeah, you know that guy, Slava Claus. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. And then he just took him down repeatedly to get the win. Right now, the odds are closing really tight because he was a much bigger favorite before. So I'm thinking because he knows he's on this losing streak, and because he knows that his back's up against the wall again. Because to be honest with you, he's not the most exciting of all fighters. To be honest with you, and I think he does this D1 Diakese stuff again, and he takes him down. He holds him down. Um, the public's all over Fernandez, and so it scares me because I like Fernandez. I like his striking. I like the way he comes at it. But Mark, I mean, who did he get knocked out by in his last fight? Let me take it a quick. Alvarez,
Well,
right?
Alvarez.
Yeah, but Alvarez is real good, man. Alvarez is real good, a real underrated dude, right? So, like, is Fernandez as good as any of those guys he's been fighting? Mark actually does have the experience. His first UFC fight, a lot of public steam on him. I'm gonna take Diakese because I think he gets his shit together. I think he goes back to being a vet, and what he did to Slava Claus is probably what he's gonna try to do here. Now, if he doesn't get it done, your ball game. But yeah,
All right, moving on. Next fight of the night, we got Montserrat Ruiz versus Eduarda Moura. Um, on paper, this is a grappler versus grappler. I mean, you wouldn't know it from Ruiz's last fight, but she actually was like a huge Mexican wrestling champion. She was supposed to be coming into the UFC as a fantastic grappler. I know. Remember, she got her first win over that Cheyenne Buys, and she kept getting her in that side lock with the neck or whatever, kept scarfold almost, kept throwing her over and over and over. Like she looked like, hey, maybe she can do this to everybody. But then the next fight, I think she's lost a few in a row here, but Amarim was taking her down pretty much at will. So for the Mexican wrestling champion to be taken down at will by that Amarim, not a good look. I mean, Amarim's a great fighter, has lots of skills, but she showed her takedown defense isn't great. So I'm thinking Mora is also going to be able to get the takedowns here. Now Mora likes to take you down and pound you out or submit you on the ground. She's not like some BJJ expert the way Amarim is, but she's still good. She's very effective at finishing the fight on the ground. Now she's 9-0, and funny thing is, she just started her professional career last year, so she's been super active. 7 fights last year, 9-0 in a year and a half. But she's like almost a minus 450 favorite here. The odds are crazy. For me, I don't think I'm going to play it, but Mora looks to be the winner here. What do you think?
yeah, Mora looks to be the winner here. I would say she has better striking. I would say neither of these girls have great striking, to be honest with you. Um, but Montserrat Ruiz is supposed to be some Mexican champion, but like all we saw was that bulldog choke sort of thing that she put on Vlismas. Because who did she fight after that? It was
I think she
believe
got
it
starched
was
after that.
yeah, starched by Lemos and starched by Amarim. Mind you, mind you, better than anything that Mora's probably ever been up against. But she didn't look like anything to be quite honest. Now this Mora girl, like she could be the second coming of Jacqueline Amorim coming in. Everybody's hype on her, minus 450 favorite, and then she gets tapped out. It would be better if she was up against a durable fighter like Amorim was around, but I think she's got this on the ground. Once she gets on the ground, she likes to move into mount. She likes to move into the back. She likes to just move in for like the subs. Like she doesn't just sit there. She's not gonna sit there pound you out from like guard. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean Mora is my pick, but like I'm not betting this fight. And if you do bet this fight, I say go bet it for the dog because minus 450 on a woman debuting in the UFC is just ludicrous.
Yeah, no, for sure. All right, moving on. We got back-to-back women's fights. We got Angela Hill versus Denise Gomes. Angela Hill coming off that loss to Mackenzie Dern. She took a lot of punishment. She's mostly notorious for being a decision fighter, a durable fighter, an experienced fighter, likes to use her length. She can pitter-patter you to a close fight, and she's been on the wrong end of a lot of decisions. So even when you look at that record, there's a lot of fights that could have went the other way. But like I said, she took a lot of punishment last fight, and that was against Mackenzie Dern. And I believe Denise Gomes is going to be the better striker, the harder hitter. So I'm liking Denise here. It's tough to say you think someone's going to finish someone, especially Angela Hill, who just seems to take a beating and hang around to that final bell in every single fight. But my head is saying that I don't know if she's going to be able to take these shots from Denise after that last fight. I mean, eventually the chin catches up to you, the damage catches up to you. These odds are fairly close. I will be playing Denise Gomes to get it done. I don't think this fight's really going to hit the ground. This is going to be a striking match, and I just think she's the way harder hitter here. What do you think?
I think you're right in the sense I don't think this fight gets to ground. Denise does like to work in takedowns, but Angela's defense isn't so bad at 76%. So that's not so bad. I mean, and the striking numbers in general are pretty close. You're looking at a 49% striking accuracy for both of them. Angela obviously has the better defense, but only slightly. You're looking at 61, 51, 55 clips. So where is this going to be? You said the power, right? Now, the power is on Denise Gomes' side. And if you watch her hands, she is a slight bit wild. So the more technical fighter is Angela. The one with the better resume is Angela. Now, she's been hit hard. Like, remember when she was wobbled by Lemos? Lemos wasn't able to finish her. And Lemos finishes pretty much anybody when she gets to that point. And arguably she won that fight too because they gave Lemos round 3. Had not a chance at all. I think she got round 3 Lemos. And that should have been a split decision for Angela Hill. So I think this is an overreaction to Denise Gomes' wins over Yasmin Yaragui and Bruna Brazil. Bruna Brazil is actually, I think, a pretty crap fighter. And Yasmin Yaragui, I think her fight IQ is a little bit off the chain, and she was trying to strike with Denise that has all this big power, and she didn't show any striking defense at all. She blocked punches with her head. It's the number one thing what you shouldn't do in MMA. Anyways, and the losses, the last fight she lost to Dern, she lost pretty handily. But Dern, let's be honest, Mackenzie Dern probably looked the best I personally have ever seen her look in the UFC. All fights, even the ones she won before, she never looked that friggin' good at all. Her striking was up to par. But then she won against Ducote, and you got to think that win against Lupi has aged so well, so well. And that was Lupi, her fighting Lupi at the age of 36, 37, somewhere around that. So yeah, I'm actually swayed by this, and I think it's recency bias because Denise Gomes has looked so good over the last couple fights that I am probably going to take a shot on Angela Hill. But in every Angela Hill fight, it's I'm going to take a shot on Angela Hill by decision because Denise Gomes a dog. Angela Hill's not knocking out this dog. So, but I think she's a more technical fighter, and she'll find a way to slay the dog.
Okay, we'll see what happens. Moving on, we got Vitor Petrino versus Modestas Bukauskas. Bukauskas is a fantastic striker, although he can be kind of boring and low output. He's not going to knock you out. He's going to kind of point fight you to a decision. And Vitor Petrino is a big, unpolished fighter. Like he's big, he's strong. I don't think he really has a specialty, but I think that he will be able to get a takedown or two and win. I'm not so sure he's going to finish him on the ground, but I think he'll win enough control time to win the fight. Again, it's not a fight where I love the odds, but I think Petrino will be able to get him down. What do you think?
I think Petrino's sloppy. I think Petrino's wingy with his punches. I think his entries are bad. They aren't great. They're not the worst, but I also think he wins this fight. Modestus, I mean, he has a 75% takedown defense, granted, but his last win against Pauga, that's
He didn't even
50-50.
really win that fight.
I don't think so. And then he beat a shell of Tyson Pedro. And he really didn't even win that fight, to be honest with you. Pedro put up a good fight for being a shell of himself, to be honest with you, rather than Modestus. I bet on Modestus both times. Both times. I followed you on the second time there. And the first time I was the one that said we should shoot the dog against Pedro. But this time, I don't know. The time to fade Petrino will happen. It will happen, but if Modestus was more foregoing with his strikes and more foregoing with the way he comes at a guy, I'd be more inclined to bet him here. Petrino, I know at least will go after him, and Modestus, what? He's never been like he has good striking, but is he going to counterpunch this guy one time and Petrino's just going to fall? I don't know. I don't see it. I think Petrino, for lack of a better way of saying it, is more well rounded, uses more aspects of MMA, but he's sloppy. I think he wins this fight, but the time will come, folks, to fade Petrino.
I just don't like betting on guys who don't go for it. Bukauskas never goes for it, so I know the other guy will at least fight for my money.
No, I agree with you. Bukauskas just hangs back way too much. He's like takes counterpunching to a different level.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Next fight of the night, we got Elizeu Zaleski versus Rinat Fakhretdinov. Zaleski or Dos Santos, whatever name you want to call him by, he's coming off that win over Nurmagomedov. It's a pretty close fight, but he won rightfully so. He showed pretty good takedown defense, and he was the better striker. So that's what he's going to look to be doing here: stuff takedowns and outstrike the guy. He's got good leg kicks, got decent hands. He's not a bad fighter at all. Unfortunately, Rinat Fakhretdinov looks to be like fucking the real deal, man. This he's great. He's not old. He's only 32 years old. He's got relentless pressure. He's not going to stop shooting those takedowns. And he's got much, much better grappling than Nurmagomedov had. So I like Rinat to get this done. And I like Zaleski. No issue with Zaleski here at all. I just think he's the older, outmatched fighter in this fight. So give me Fakhretdinov, and I would pick Fakhretdinov over most of the fighters in this division. Does he finish it? That all depends on how tough Zaleski is, whether he exposes his neck or whether he wants to take a beating. But he's going to lose all 3 rounds, if you ask me. So give me Fakhretdinov fairly handily. What do you think?
It's one of my stronger leans of the card, to be honest with you. I mean, Fakhretdinov, the only minus arrow he gets in this card is that he throws a little bit less volume than Dos Santos there. Other than that, like his striking accuracy is 67-41, outstanding. And the striking absorbed is only 0.78. He's good. So, I mean, but they're both sitting at about the same defense now. Now, the grappling is 100% takedown defense. So Zaleski never goes for takedowns. He won't even take down Fakhretdinov. But you said Zaleski has pretty good defense. It's not bad, but 65% means he has been taken down in the majority of his UFC fights, right? Let's remember that the outclassed, outweighted Benoit Saint Denis, who should have probably been, it was basically a corpse fighting Dos Santos in that fight, should have been finished 3 times, still somehow went the distance with him. And that really aged well for Benoit. So, I mean, taking from that, I think Fakhretdinov gets this guy down fairly easily. Fairly easily. Now, like you said, Dos Santos is very durable. I don't think he's going to get finished here. And if it's going to be finished, let's go Fakhretdinov by submission over a TKO, because I feel like Dos Santos, being the fighter that he is, have the resume that he does, that he knows how to fight off the other finishes. And he won't get one punch. I don't think this is going to be a one punch like he did to Kevin Lee. that was the corpse of Kevin Lee that he beat. So I think Fakhretdinov wins in every aspect of MMA here. I even actually think the scary bet is to go Fakhretdinov by decision. But Dos Santos is just as like gritty as Brian Battle is. You know what I mean? So
Yep. All right, moving on. Next fight of the night, we got Daniel Marcos versus Victor Hugo. Hugo coming in on 1 week's notice. So it's hard to really know what kind of shape he's in, what kind of mentality he's in. And then we got Daniel Marcos, who is coming off that terrible victory over Davy Grant. I remember I put a lot of money on him and I thought I lost it. I thought it was up in smoke. He got the decision. I'll take it. I'll take my win. But he did not look good in that fight. He did nothing. Low output, didn't want to engage. I don't know, man. So this fight, I feel like I'm not overly interested in it, and I don't think that's back to what I said a couple fights ago. It's not the type of fighter I want to put my money on. Like I think he's going to win this fight. You want me to pick a winner? I'm going to pick Daniel Marcos here. But I don't want to bet on the guy who doesn't throw. Like that was I'm hoping that was a one off. So I'm going to be passing on this fight, and I hope he rebuilds like some confidence or interest or respect or whatever. But I'm going to be passing this fight. And Victor Hugo, 7 days notice. I'm not going to be picking him either. What do you think?
7 days notice is really bad. Victor Hugo, though, I watched him on the Contender Series. It was actually like 3 or 4 weeks ago only that he was on the Contender Series. So he took him down and he tapped him. So, that is the way that this fight should go. That's what he wants to do, Victor Hugo. He wants to take him down. He wants to go and he actually tapped the guy. It was Torres, and he tapped him by a knee bar, right? So it was a pretty good mark, but UFC fighters knee bars. I mean, there's few and far between. Now, Victor Hugo's problem is that the strikes in that fight and the strikes that they do have on UFC stats is like he's 1.25 a minute. That's gross. Marcos is at 4.88. What we saw in Daniel Marcos, what I say is UFC jitters. I don't know how he got that decision over Davy Grant because he didn't win that decision. He had UFC jitters all fight. He was scared to cock back. He was scared to let go. He was scared to do everything. But he's the better fighter here, and he's had the full camp. Victor Hugo, I do not think will be able to do anything as in like take this guy down. I mean, in 2 fights, Marquez, I think it's 2 fights at the UFC. No, 3 fights at the UFC. So 2 plus his contender fight, 89% takedown defense. Hugo's bread and butter is takedowns. He's got a week of notice. I think Marco rolls over him. Am I a little bit scared? Yes, because of the minus 225. If this was closer to pick 'em odds, I would be all over Marcos like butter on bread. But yeah, I think Marcos wins. I think the recency bias is a little bit off. He should know that he was a little gun shy last fight. So I'm going with Marcos.
All right, moving on. This should be a pretty fun one. We got Elvis Brenner versus Esteban Ribovics. Brenner is coming off that crazy upset win over Guram Kutateladze there, where he was fucking bloodied up. He was probably down 2 rounds to nothing, probably, and he came back and scored a crazy finish in the third round there. Wicked fight. The guy showed tremendous heart. Can't question his heart. That's for damn sure. And then you got Esteban Ribovics, who just got that win over Camuela Kirk. I didn't think he looked great in it. I remember him losing one of the rounds. I feel like it was 1-1 going into the third. Did it go decision? I don't even remember. Decision or finish?
I believe it was.
It was a finish. It was late because I feel like it was 1-1 going into the third.
It's a unanimous decision.
Okay. Yeah. Regardless, Ribovics or Ribovics, however you want to pronounce his name, he should be the more technical striker. And you know what? He's actually got a pretty good ground game too. Because Brenner being Brazil, being from that shoot box camp, he's going to be an aggressive fighter. I'm sure he's got good submissions, a pretty good ground game. But Esteban's got all those things as well. I feel like Esteban is actually the more technical fighter here. But I don't know that he has the heart that Brenner does. So this fight just has all the makings of close fight, two very good skilled fighters, pretty evenly matched. And is one going to break and one doesn't? I don't know. Like I think Brenner is better than Camuela Kirk. I do think he's better than Kirk. And I still find myself thinking Esteban can win this fight. I don't know if he can go 3 hard full rounds and match that pace, because Brenner's going to come for it. I think it's a fun fight. I don't think it's a fight I necessarily want to bet on, but it's going to be a fun one to watch. What do you think?
I like the dog. I like Ribovics here. And you would say that it's takedown defense that's the problem in Ribovics. All his fights where he is fighting, it's that Kamwala Quirk, the round he lost was because he got taken down. What happened for the rest of the fight? He stopped the takedowns. Now they're like, okay, so it's easy to say Brenner wins if he takes him down. Well, in the two fights that Brenner does have in the UFC, he only has a 20% takedown defense. I'm sorry, accuracy. And I know Ribovics has a little bit lacking in the takedown defense, but this is a guy that doesn't really shoot takedowns to Elvis Brenner. He got a couple on Guram, but I think Guram was fading there in the fight. Yeah, it's fading a little bit in the end of the fight. But now you put it back, Guram was probably going to win that fight 30-27, right? Like he only started to take over halfway through that round, the last round there. So like, what did he do in the beginning for that fight against Guram? Nothing, because this is what we're going up against, right? You know what I mean? So Ribovics, though, his technical striking is really well. I mean, when you see him against Paul, he looked really well. The striking is so good. Against Radzhabov, what happened again? Well, he got taken down freaking, I think it was 11 times or something like that. The 12, 13, I know it was a shitload of times. But I don't think that happens here. I don't think Brenner's that good. I think there's massive recency bias baked into this line. This line is the bookie saying Elvis Brenner just beat Guram Kutaladze, and Ribovics just skated by on a unanimous decision versus Kamwala Kirk. That's what this line looks like. So I guess if Brenner was the fucking plus money underdog, I would have bet him in this case. But he's not. The way I'm thinking about this fight is Ribovics wins unanimous decision. Not because Brenner tires, because grappling's not huge part of his game. It's not huge. It's not like Loic. Loic's entire game is based on grappling, and when he can't do it, he loses. Recency bias, buddy. I think it's Ribovics.
Yeah, that should be a fun one, anyways. Moving on to the main card. If you haven't already, please please subscribe. First fight of the main card, we got Ismail Bonfim versus Vince Pichel. Bonfim is coming off the loss to Benoit Saint Denis that you called. You smashed that one. But Saint Denis is a monster, and I'm sorry, Vince Pichel is not. Pichel's a tough guy. He's well-rounded. He's been around the block. He's all those things, but he's 40 years old, and he is not the physical specimen that Benoit Saint Denis is. This fight card is in Brazil. I think this is an opening fight for the Brazilian to get a big win here. Give me Ismail Bonfim to win the fight. I'm not 100% certain he's going to finish Vince Pichel. Pichel has been around long enough that he might be able to survive to a decision or something like that. But I just think he's outmatched everywhere. He's not going to be as quick, not as athletic, not as strong. Give me Bonfim to win. What do you think?
Well, Pichel's first of all 41 years old, and Bonfim's like what 27 or something like that. So that's a one red flag in Pichel's fight. And then the other one is like Bonfim doesn't stop. He'll come right after Pichel. Like this is the worst of the two Bonfim brothers, anyways, right? So I wish I got a recency bias line on this one here because they should put some more recency. Minus 450 on a guy that just got his ass blasted. Like, come on. Well, Denis fought 3 times since then, right? Or 2 times and looked very, very, very good. So, I mean, was that last fight Ismail Bonfim not being good though? Or Benoit Saint Denis being underrated and being better than what everybody else thought, right? So, I mean, the red flags were there for that fight because Denis he fought down up a weight class against Dos Santos when he fought, right? So now he's fighting his real weight class. So there was like, those factors and the line was way off, right? So, I mean, it's the same thing here. The line's off, but I actually think Bonfim is a better fighter than Pichel at this point in their career, right? What was Pichel always good at? Like, what was he good at?
Grinding, just being.
Yeah, but he was a grinder, right? And a really bad mustache. But he was he was a grinder. He put you up against that fight against Jim Miller. I think he made it really razor thin close. And he likes to make fights way too close. I think he just gets blasted here because he's 41 years old. And Bonfim, let's remember, he came off that loss. So he really does have, and he's opening the main card. There's some like head games that are here. Like in his head, he's got to know he's got to put up for his people. I think he's just a better fighter at this point in his career.
Yep. Yeah, I agree 100%. All right, moving on to one of my favorite fights of the night. We got Rodolfo Vieira versus Armen Petrosyan. This line, I believe it's a dead even -110 right now,
Yep.
which I love because call me crazy. I mean, this is a grappler versus striker matchup. I'm going the striker here. Maybe I'm crazy. I'm picking Armen to get this done. I don't trust Rodolfo Vieira. This guy is gassed multiple times. He is a beast. He's a physical beast, and he does have the explosiveness that has lost Armen fights before. Like his path to victory is clear cut. Take him down and either win on points with control time or tap him out. But you got to get this fight to the ground and win on the ground. And I don't believe he has the gas tank to do that for 3 rounds. I'm not so sure he'll be able to do it for 1 round. And if he does, maybe he wins the first round, and then I'd live bet even more on Armen. But I don't know. Vieira's got to get this done like quick. He's got to get him down and finish it. I don't think he can. Give me Armen Petrosyan to be able to finally stuff the takedowns and take over the fight in the last half and light him up. I'm on the Petrosyan side. Line's dead even. Maybe I'm crazy. What do you think?
I don't think you're crazy because I was I was on the Petrosian side too. Let's be honest here. Like I like the guy. I like the guy. And I think it's not that I think Viera is like that bad. But look at his he's not a wrestler though. His takedowns are not like by the book. So who is it that Petrosian fought? Kristen Leroy Duncan. We were on opposite sides of that fight. Remember that? I said, well, he's gonna shuck him off and he's gonna like whatever, right? You're like, no, 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 whatever. It happens, right? Shit happens. But that's what I think. But you're right though. Notoriously before that fight, Petrosian had a 36% takedown defense, I believe it is. I will double check that right now. Yep, 36%. So he is going to get taken down. But remember, RoboCop took him down with a black belt, couldn't tap him out. He got back up, somehow won that fight. So this is what Petrosian does: gets back up and wins the fight. Striking, I got to give Viera a little credit. Lately, some of that Chris Curtis fight in onwards, his striking has looked serviceable in the UFC. It's looked better. And the only way that he went to 3 rounds with Chris Curtis was because of his striking, I think. Because if he was to fucking...
He couldn't get Curtis down.
Right, so he couldn't get Curtis down, so he had to strike with him, right? So that's how his gas tank stayed so good. Oh, his gas tank's going to be... No! If he has to wrestle, his gas tank's going to be shit. So he's going to get to wrestle here. I'm not saying Petrosian's going to just walk all over this guy. No, 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 no. This is going to be... If you have a Petrosian ticket, hold your ball sack in one hand for the first round, because that first round is going to be dicey as hell. But as the fight progresses, Armen should take over. Now, Armen, I wouldn't say put the whole house on him because he hasn't shown the killer instinct that I'd like to see from fighters, right? You know what I mean? Like going for it. I think there's a couple fights where he could have gone for it and he didn't. So call me crazy. And when the props hit, I like Armen Petrosyan by decision. Because I feel like that first round's going to be dicey. Then he shrugs off all the other takedowns and then just pieces this guy from distance. Because he's a better striker. Rodolfo's got some serviceable striking, but not on the same level. But call me crazy and you crazy if this show, both of us, we agree on a dead even pick 'em, and it's not the grappler. Wow.
I think it's an exciting match anyways. It's a good fight.
Viera's Viera, man. I feel like another thing too, man. I feel like his heart's not all in this. Like, I think Petrosian's the fighter.
Yeah,
He wants to be
quitter. He breaks, man. Viera
right,
breaks.
Yeah, I think Petrosian's the fighter. And I think Viera is maybe he's in it for the money, but then everybody complains about UFC pay. So I don't know. Who knows?
All right, moving on. Next fight of the night. Another interesting fight here. We got Kyle Borralho versus Abus Magomedov. Another classic striker versus grappler. Borralho is coming in as a huge favorite, which is kind of crazy because I know Magomedov kind of disappointed in his last fight. A lot of people thought he was going to beat Sean Strickland. Obviously, he got finished. I think it was the second round, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, so obviously his stock went down. It dropped. I get it. And then you got Borralho, who has looked pretty dominant in getting those takedowns and doing the backpack, the Aljo backpack. But that being said, there's been a couple fights where he couldn't get the takedowns every time. His striking is not great by any means at all. So to me, the line should be closer. I mean, Magomedov needs to win this fight, and he probably doesn't. But I don't know, man. I don't think he should be a minus 300. Personally, I don't see it. I don't see a minus 300 here. It's a great fight, and it's going to answer a lot of questions. I mean, if Borralho can take this guy down at will and get this done, Borralho needs a big step up in competition. I mean, he's looked great so far. Give him that next step. Something just, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think Kyle is as good as everybody else. Personally, I don't. I don't. Do I think he wins? Probably. Am I betting minus 300? I'm not. What do you think?
I think Kyle is a decent wrestler, but I also think Abus got fast tracked to the title picture because they think of him like Alex Pereira, right? And everyone's going to be like, oh, he gassed in his last fight. Well, yeah, he did, but like, I don't know. Is the same pressure going to be put on by the striking by Kai Borralho? Is he going to be able to take him down? These are red flag questions. For a minus 300, you shouldn't have these questions, right? So is he going to be able to take him down? I don't know. No one's ever really tried to do it against a boost. And let's remember, let's just put it in this perspective. This guy's Dagestani, man. So he's got to have some wrestling in his back pocket. Let's be honest here. Like, you don't
Shara
come.
didn't. Sorry.
Who
I said
didn't?
Shara didn't last weekend. Sorry.
That's true. That's true. That's true. But like, well, I'm just saying, like, he should have some back. And striking, it's not even close. I don't think. I don't think so. Now, I think the odds are off. Let's be honest here. The better technical striker is Abus. The better grappler is Kyle, but we don't know that for a fact because we never really seen Abus on the ground or threatened on the ground like that. So I'm going to actually take a dog shot here on Abus. There's going to be a time to fade Kyle. I don't know if this is the right time, but at least it's the right opponent. Folks, this guy just lost to the middleweight champion of the world.
And he won round one big.
And he won round one pretty handily against the middleweight champion of the world. I don't know what his gas tank issue was. And this fight we'll find out. But like, he is a better fighter than the odds indicate here. So a plus 240 shot's not that bad in my book. So give me a boost.
Yeah, hey, I like it. The value's there, like 100%. The value, that's the value pick for sure. And if he stuffs the takedowns, he's going to win the fight.
Oh, for sure.
All right, moving on. To me, the card order is strange. I don't know why this is the third from the top here, but we got a heavyweight. I guess they want to get a finish here, although I think there's going to be finishes anyways. We got Rodrigo Nascimento versus Dante Almeida. This is a rematch from a few years ago. Nascimento, I believe, choked him out in the first or second round. It was fairly first half of the fight anyways. And to be honest, I don't see the fight going too different. Dante Almeida, I know he just won over Arlovsky, but he's still shit. He's not a great fighter, man. He's not. He's not some huge one hitter quitter. His pace isn't crazy. His output isn't crazy. Like, he's not that good. So I am going to go with Nascimento again. And I'm going to assume at some point he gets it to the ground and probably finishes it. But give me Nascimento anyways. The value's not too bad. I think he's sitting at like minus 188 or something like that. I think that's fairly decent value, I guess, for a guy who got it done fairly easy last time. I haven't seen any major adjustments from either of them to indicate the fight will go different. What do you think?
Well, I think Nascimento's striking's actually gotten better than the last time they fought. Not loads better, but better in general. Let's put it into perspective is that he won a fight against Ilir Latifi last time where he outstruck him and got taken down twice, right? That's like completely like a 180 on the Nascimento train on that one, right? So to win a fight like that and then to come back and fight Dontel Mays, well, Dontel Mays has let me down so many times in this fucking guy's career. When did he let me down against Augusto Sakai, who we have now known is crap. And then Hamdi, whatever his name is, he let me down against that guy. That guy, I still, the jury's out on him, but like, that was the guy's first fight in the UFC, Dontel Mays. And
I think he popped hot that fight too.
Oh God. But the problem is that he was like decent odds for a guy's first fight. It was like minus 180. I was like, whoa, this guy doesn't even look good on regional tape. I'll take Dontel Mays because Dontel Mays looked serviceable at best. Let's remember that he probably wasn't winning that Orlowski fight until he popped him. So there's so many red flags with Dontel Mays. At least Rodrigo Nascimento, I mean, like, his career has been, pretty decent, to be honest with you. Like his wins over Bozer, well, I guess that's not so great, but his only losses are to Dawkins, and that's it, right? There's another loss on his. He popped hot against Bundo. He got overturned, so yeah, whatever. I like
I
Nas.
honestly think Bozer is better than Mays, and I don't like Bozer at all.
Yeah, Bozer is better than Mays. Everyone's like, "Oh, Mays has changed." Oh no, no. Oh, he can wrestle. I don't. I don't think he wants to wrestle Nascimento to the ground. Personally, if that's a problem, right? Latifi on top or Dontel Mays on top is a huge difference. Latifi is a load, knows how to wrestle, knows how to keep top position. Dontel Mays, I swear, if he gets on top of him, he's going to be swept in 2 seconds. Well, maybe not 2 seconds. I'm just not giving him enough like leeway here. But yeah, man, I don't see anything different. I like Nascimento and I like a tap by a rear naked choke. If I could bet on a rear naked choke, I'd bet on a rear naked choke.
All right, and that brings us to our co-main event. We got Gabriel Bonfim versus Nicholas Dalby. This is the better Bonfim brother, 15-0, perfect record. And then we got Dalby, who's coming off that I think was it a decision, or did he finish the Russian striker, the old guy, Salikov, is it, or something like that?
I think he finished him, but I'll double check for you while you're talking. So
Would be late in the fight if he did. I remember going to round three. And he won because better gas tank, and he's the ultimate grinder. That's what Dalby does. I find him incredibly boring. And even though Bonfim kind of seems one-dimensional to me, and people are probably going to get hate for that. Like it seems like he always wants the guillotine. He always wants the choke, and he keeps getting it. And he keeps finishing guys with it. And I hope he gets it here because Dalby's so damn boring. I don't want to watch a 3-round Dalby fight. But Dalby does have a way of grinding and making fights close. Give me Bonfim. I hope he pulls it off for the Brazilian fans there. But again, wouldn't shock me if Dalby makes this a boring 3-round fight. What do you think?
So Bonfim, I feel like actually probably has gone against the better competition. Like Giles and Mounier Laziz, those two guys by himself aren't bad competition coming right into the UFC like that. You know what I mean? So like you said, the guillotine choke, he got the Von Flue choke in the Contender Series, I believe it was. And Trey Waters turned out to be a decent fighter in the UFC. So that actually turned out to be a good win for him because Trey Waters came in afterwards and beat Josh Quinlan, right? In a fight that people thought he had no business being in. So that looks good on Bonfim part. Now, to put in perspective, he's only been in 6 minutes of cage time, but he's running a 6.08 strikes per minute in 6 minutes of cage time. That's pretty crazy, right? So yeah, he goes for it. He doesn't hang back, and I feel like he's gonna go for it here. And I don't know if Nicholas Dalby wants it to be a go for it fight. He wants it to be a grinding fight. So can Dalby match the go for it of Bonfim? I don't think so. Can he match the skills of Bonfim? I don't think so. I believe Nicholas Dalby is the same guy that yes, he was. No, he was. Where is it? No, he lost to Jesse Ronston. No contest. No, thinking about the wrong guy. I thought it was
He's supposed to be like the karate style striker, but is his striking that good? I don't know.
There's only two karate style strikers I've ever seen do well in the UFC. One being Stephen Thompson, the other being George St. Pierre. Everybody Machida. Else, I always have a long Machida, I guess. I'll give Machida as I forgot about that guy. But yeah, okay, those three. But everybody else, they say it's karate. I don't believe it, man. So I'm not going to go too far on this one. Bonfim, odds suck. Take him inside the distance, probably round one or round two. And yeah, let's go on to the next one, which I actually have a good take on.
All right. That brings us to the main event of the evening. We got Jailton Almeida, 19-2, versus Derek the Black Beast Lewis, 27-11. Obviously, Derek Lewis, everybody counted him out, thought he was done. He scored the very quick, was like a jumping knee, pound him out knockout last fight. Yep. But I don't think he's going to be able to do that here. And to be honest, I'm kind of waiting for Jailton Almeida to lose. I feel like he's an undersized heavyweight, and I feel like he is going to be knocked out sooner than later. But he's been rising, and he's been passing every test. So how do I not give him the benefit of the doubt here? I really wanted him to fight Curtis Blades. someone who was going to be able to stop the takedown and force him to stand and strike. I love that matchup way better. Obviously, with blades out, Lewis coming in, short notice. Derek Lewis is always going to have a chance. If you're betting him by knockout. You're probably going to get plus 500 or whatever. But Jailton Almeida minus 500, shitty. If you're picking him, you got to pick by finish. Try to knock that odds in half. Give me Almeida by submission, first round. But hey, I'll be rooting for a Derek Lewis knockout, I guess. What do you think?
So I will not be parlaying Jailton Almeida. For all intents and purposes, I have seen the Black Beast get taken down numerous times in his career, but those were by 265-pound men, like large. Ilir Latifi, I believe, was the guys that were taking him down. Cyril Gane didn't even take him down, who was an undersized a heavyweight. Who else did he fight?
Well, Sergey Spivak kind of tapped him.
Yeah, I was about to get to
like
that. I was about to take that. I was about to say about the Sergey Spivak thing, but Sergey Spivak still is a 260 pounder, right? What does Jailton Almeida come into fights at? 235, 237, 230? And he's ragdolling guys. And who are the guys that Jailton Almeida has fought? Go through the list. Jairzinho Rozenstruik, undersized, 240. Shamil Abdurakhimov, undersized, 235, 230. The only guy of size in the heavyweight division that he has ever fought is Parker fucking Porter. All right. Now you're going to go up against the Black Beast, who's a legit 265 pounder. I'm not saying that Jailton Almeida, and I don't give a care about the flack that I'll take for this. I don't care. Like, he's undersized to the Black Beast. And if you think he's just going to walk in there and double power leg fucking Derek Lewis, I don't think so. And they're going to be like, oh, well, Spivak did. Now go watch the Spivak fight. Go watch it, rewatch it. Spivak set it up a lot better. Spivak actually, he has striking. Not a lot of power in his hands, but he has serviceable striking to set up his ground game. And then when he gets on the ground, he's just as good as anybody else. What's Almeida? All I see is front kick to double leg. Front kick to double leg. That shit's going to run cold, homie, sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying he shouldn't win this fight. And by no means am I taking away his, like, prospect status. But, like, I won't put it on, like, minus 500 is not parlayable. Not parlayable. If you're getting a good number on Jailton Almeida submission, go right ahead, boo-boo. Play that. That's a good bet. But, like, Black Beast by finish, by KO, I don't see any other way to just not throw $10 away on this. Like, I don't. Like, I just don't see it. And, hey, man, if my parlay is hit, I'll put $20 on Black Beast to KO this guy. Because, Curtis Blades handily beat him in the first round, went for a takedown in the second round. Boom! Curtis Blades, I think, would have put up a damn good fight against Jailton Almeida. Damn good fight against Jailton Almeida. Probably stuff all the takedowns and have the better striking, right? So you can't just say, oh, Jailton's going to run over fucking Derek Lewis. He's not. At least I don't think so. And if he gets him tired, then fine. But what if we've seen Derek Lewis in the third round. Not that it looked any better than anything else, but we haven't seen Jailton Almeida get past round 2. It makes a difference, buddy.
I don't see this fight makes it. I don't see
no. I'm not saying that. But don't be surprised when Derek Lewis hits him with that surprise uppercut or something crazy. I mean, just pull up weigh-in pictures of Derek Lewis, and just if his weigh-in picture looks anywhere close to what he looked like in the last fight, I'd be scared to bet on Jailton Almeida and parlay him for big money. I'm not saying don't play him, boys and girls, but I'm saying just be wary of this fight. Derek Lewis isn't as bad as people put him up to be. And there is a big size discrepancy that people don't talk about. This is a big size. This is a legit 265. This isn't pork chop. This is Derek Lewis.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, he's got the touch of death, so you don't parlay a minus 500 against someone with real one-shot power. So all he needs is the one shot. It's not a parlay piece, that's for sure.
Yeah, but Rozenstruik has the touch of death too, right? But he
doesn't throw.
But he doesn't throw. And his IQ sucks, and he doesn't throw at the right times. And he's undersized for the division. All the heavyweights are undersized that Almeida's fought.
Yep.
This is the true test for Almeida. This is his true test. Can he beat Derek Lewis? Because I feel like this is a good test for Almeida. He comes through this with flying colors, and I think he could beat anyone except for Pavlovich. But
I still want to see the Blades fight, man. Someone who can stuff the takedown and force him to strike. That's what I want to see. That's what I wanted to see. But hey, it is what it is. For a last minute replacement, it's not terrible.
that's not terrible. What if they put him up against Pavlovich after this? Like, but Pavlovich fights is Aspinall, right?
Right, I got Pavlovich in that fight. It seems like
Me
all
too.
the online communities on Aspinall, but I
Nah,
got
they
man.
think he's gonna take him down. Like, but after what I saw, the way he handled the wrestling from Blades, he looked phenomenal. He looked like the next best thing. Maybe I'm overhyping him too, but yeah, I mean these are the guys we need to talk about against Almeida. If he gets past Derek Lewis, these are the guys he's gonna have to go up against. So
Yep, for sure. Okay, guys, these were the early predictions. Check back Thursday. Obviously, Wednesday night, the props drop, or Wednesday, the props drop, whatever. We're going to make another episode with a bet for every fight once we see what the odds come in at. And we'll give you the best plays, what we like. As always, like, subscribe, drop us a comment, give us your favorite pick, most confident pick, and we will see you Thursday. Have a good one, guys.
later.